Manoah, human, father to the son of On. By the year 70, we had placed 40 new generation hybrids on Earth, and all other endeavors to communicate with the inhabitants had been a failure. This since the kings of the planet rose against us. Ishtar, who married the black-headed man-child Manoah, and all other hybrids, had a gene deficiency. Neither of them could recreate, but they did fancy the inhabitants of Earth, and asked for the bliss of children. Our advanced technology, our appearances, the hybrids, the children of the childless, it all added up to us becoming preferable gods, instead of those who already with slavery dictated the people. For we had the power to change their world. It started to feel like all our endeavors had been to populate the world with new species. Within 10 years, and 300 new children, both males and females, had been born. The asteroid belt, the death of millions. Once their spirit home was hit, the rest of the pieces recoiled out into the atmosphere, across the universe, hitting Earth. Earth was stronger than our home, the general said to Jessica. She asked him again, "What does unfold that what is, but is untold mean?" The general looked at her, and said, "What is that we can't see, but is, for the evidence of it, is missing, and still it shines, as bright as the sun?" Jessica felt more confused, and angry. She thought that he could just tell her, and don't play these riddles. Obviously, the answer was important enough to make them spend their lives in space waiting. "You must learn to think," he said. "Did you ever encounter those nasty small lizards that always came by the hundreds? Those, amongst other creatures, we breathe in the nursery." Jessica did remember. She remembered her father, running out from the house, to help an outer terrestrial tourist in panic. "Yes," she answered, "I did. They are quite special." "That, my dear," the general said, "is evolution. That contains the evidence of what you can't see." Jessica looks back and remember the man picking fruits in the garden, and one of those small Nile lizards with feet and abdomen covered with small Nile-like hair, hurried up his leg, and swiftly crawled into his ear, and into his nose before the man panicked. Father, who was just nearby, shouted at the top of his lungs, "Don't throw it away." But the man did. So within seconds, hundreds of lizards was crawling into all openings they could find on the man's body. My father ran as fast as he could, with the jar in one hand, and the lid to it, in the other. Somehow, he managed to calm the man down, and took the jar with some sweet gel inside it, catched one of those lizards, and dropped it inside. Within just a few seconds, the lizards had left the man and they all worked over each other, to reach the gel. My father put the lid on and went out in the forest. He said while leaving the shocked man, "They're not dangerous, they thought you hid something, each one is a scout for the rest of the population." Jessica didn't grow any wiser, but she left the question for now. She mourned the loss of a world. Gilgamesh, the son of Lugalbanda. 1 part man, 3 parts God. Gilgamesh sit by the river, and as he feel the water, he think, "I am connected." And in the same time, he amazes over the beauty that he see in the scenery. Inside his head, he hear Jessica. "What are you doing? You are not focused." He cuts an imaginary bond to his vision, and answers her, just as if she would have stood before him. "I was touching the water, which says that in the east, the sky is burning and it don't feel good." Jessica was worried. More and more rebellion had raised, and whatever technical advancement they brought to this world, the Titan gods, their own allies, and god kings, turned against them and stole everything, to the cost of lives and the lives of new generation, the hybrid children. Gilgamesh was stronger, his nervous system grew through the back of his spine, all the way out of his skull, leaving the image of a thick and lustrous hair. He was perfect, as J. Scott said. He could fight an army or tame a lion, without any effort. He was also the enemy target. They said that when Gilgamesh fall, the city will fall too. However, Gilgamesh was fearsome. If any man or woman could prove that they were a friend of him, they would be left alone and not fought down. For Gilgamesh talked to the gods in the sky, and the gods came to him carrying lightning and thunder, creating storms when they arrived. Gilgamesh could spend hours each day, connected to Jessica and to the earth spirit. He also helped the Nephilims gather supply to the fleet. There were tables filled with grapes and fruit, there were buckets of metal and cloth, and as thanks to the community, the technical development and social codes increased among the inhabitants. Gilgamesh turned back from the river that evening, to the sunset cave. A great tower built by the first hybrids of Dilmun, the carp-headed titans. Those who came from the sea, the specialists of rock building, the Apkallos. They lived with, and taught the simple man, all he needed to know. They were educated and technically advanced. They taught civil behavior and medicine, but, best of all, they taught agriculture and how to build these amazing cities in stone. They built these enormous stone structures in lakes and then leveled it, by lowering or increasing. They could turn the water as they saw fit. Gilgamesh amazes at the sight. It looked like a mountain from a distance, but when he came closer, he could see that rooms and walls surrounding the tower had been carved out from the hard stone. Pillars rose from floor to ceiling, and in the top of the mountain a fountain of light cascaded brightly towards the stars. Gilgamesh saw as he came closer, 2 guardians by each side of the entrance, standing like gigantic statues, warning everyone who came too close, that this is what they will fight, if they mean to enter without a citizenship. Gilgamesh was concerned about the fire in the east that Gaia had let him see. And through the cloth-covered stone city, he walked to the top of the tower. He saw his subjects closing the doors in front of him. As he passed by, some nodded in respect. When he entered the great hall of light at the top of the mountain, he saw his father god, Lugalbanda. "Why are you here?" Gilgamesh said, and was surprised that the old but first of the hybrid gods paid him a visit after so many years. Lugalbanda looked at his son. "I know you will ask our forefathers for more strength by the holy light, but each time you gain more power, son, I can feel through Gaia, Holy Mother of Gods, that you are changing." Gilgamesh had noticed a small disturbance within himself, but he didn't concern too much about it. "It's controllable," he said as he kneeled in the light. This light, his father said, was not supposed to strengthen you, it was supposed to bring life to hybrids, made by our hand. Lugalbanda put his hand on Gilgamesh's shoulder, but Gilgamesh swiftly shook it off. "Who," he said with the spoken word, "will save our gods and titans? From the gods and titans, we ourselves created, now that our world is burning. In all my knowledge of 3 languages, I also feel you, Father, and you are losing the strength to shield your people." Within seconds Gilgamesh started to glow and the veins on his neck pulsated in heat, all broken up like turns of the river and blue to the color. He rose and turned around with such great power that the hall of light came upon like thunder. He grabbed his father by the neck and pushed him against the stone wall and said with the spoken word, "I will do your job, fool. I have a rebellion to depress. I will suffocate the insolent bastards. No more gods than you with your cowardness." Lugalbanda opened a link to Jessica. "Stop, Gilgamesh! Stop, my son!" Jessica got the order as she was going to the nursery, to check the progress of the Nile lizards. You don't say no to Lugalbanda, since he had spent so many years, in man years, as a good god and king. She wished that she could have heard Gaia too, but Gaia was ascended from earth, and the mother of the hybrids and therefore not connectable without one. Jessica returned as quickly as she could to the bridge. And with a movement of her hand, she sends an electric shock through Lugalbanda, that gives Gilgamesh a big push and shot back. He lost his grip and fell down. Jessica asked Lugalbanda, "Show me what you see?" Lugalbanda blocks Jessica this time, and says as he recovers from the loss of air, "I love you, my son. This is one of the gifts we were blessed with. Don't lose this." Gilgamesh tried to feel but feel nothing. He only remembers once feeling, and suddenly he realized that he lost contact to Gaia. "I will do what is needed of me," he say with the spoken word,